In 2 days, the President of the United States gets on Air Force One and flies to Beijing. He's bringing Elon Musk with him. He is bringing Tim Cook with him. He's bringing the heads of Boeing, Goldman Sachs, BlackRock, and Meta. And the entire world is watching this trip thinking the same thing. Trump is going to China because he needs something from Xi Jinping. But that is the opposite of what is happening. Trump is going to China to make an offer that Xi cannot refuse. And by Wednesday afternoon, when those two men sit down in the same room, Xi is going to figure out exactly in person what is Trump's ace up his sleeve. So let me show you how Trump set this up. Here's what the news cycle has been telling you for the last, 72 hours. The ceasefire with Iran is collapsing. Iran rejected the peace deal. They sent a 10-point response back through Pakistan, and Trump told Fox News he didn't even finish reading it. He called it a piece of garbage. He called the ceasefire unbelievably weak on life support. So as expected, oil prices jumped. Brent went back above $110 a barrel. American crude prices ticked up to $98 a barrel at the wholesale level. And meanwhile, the Iranian parliament speaker said they are ready to teach a lesson to anyone who attacks them. And Trump met with his entire national security team this weekend to precisely discuss resuming military operations. So Trump's detractors are loving every second of this. They are saying Trump's Iran strategy has failed. They are saying he started a war he could not finish. They are saying the ceasefire was always going to collapse. They are saying he is walking into Beijing this week with a war he cannot end and an Iran problem he cannot solve, and now he has to beg Xi to help him fix this mess. So the mainstream media has a particular line they keep repeating. Trump goes to Beijing weakened, if not already defeated. So you must have heard it already on every cable network this week. So that is the frame. Because let's be honest, there's an entire economy built around betting on Trump failing. So Trump arrives in Beijing as the supplicant, the weakened president, the man who needs Xi to save him from the war he started. But if you take a break from those who earn money to say bad things about Trump, let me show you what they are missing. Just remember that I have a blog where I go deep into geopolitics, international markets, and the race for AI compute supremacy. ThePowerPundit.com. I can say things there that I can't say anywhere else. Check the link in the description of this video. So, last month, China's crude oil imports collapsed. A 30% collapse in 60 days. 3.5 million barrels of oil per day. Poof! Gone. The lowest level in at least 2 years. So you know where that oil used to come from, right? You have been watching my videos. Iran. That oil that China is not importing is just discounted Iranian crude routed through Chinese teapot refineries in Dalian and Shandong, paying Iran in yuan, bypassing dollar sanctions, and keeping the Chinese industrial machine running on cheap energy for the better part of a decade. That pipeline, now it's broken, out of order. So Treasury sanctioned the teapot refineries and CENTCOM blockaded the tankers. There are 70 oil tankers right now sitting empty that cannot enter or leave Iranian ports. And over 20 U.S. warships are physically preventing them from moving. We're talking about $13 billion worth of Iranian oil frozen in place. So, since China has a problem with oil being scarce and energy becoming more expensive, the result of that is showing up in Chinese inflation numbers this week. Chinese consumer prices came in higher than expected. Producer prices in China are running at 2.8%, the fastest pace since 2022. Chinese gasoline prices are up 19%. And this is not demand-driven inflation. This is not people rushing to buy from Temu. This is supply shock. This is what happens to an economy when somebody cuts off 30% of its oil and there's no quick replacement. Meanwhile, in Gotham, let me talk about what else is happening at the same time. The Indian Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, just went on television and asked every Indian citizen to drive less, to work from home, to carpool, to use less cooking oil. He called household consumption reduction an act of patriotism. And we're talking about India, the world's third largest oil importer, is rationing demand because the pressure in the global energy market is squeezing their currency reserves. That is not a Trump policy. That is the second largest country in the world adjusting to a reality that Trump created. And in Europe, let me make a quick stop here because Europe has problems of its own. Trump just told Italy he's pulling U.S. troops out of bases there if Italy keeps blocking landings for the Iran operation. He has already announced he's pulling 5,000 troops out of Germany. He has the British Foreign Secretary in Washington this week discussing freedom of navigation in the Strait of Hormuz. The French and British warships in the Gulf got warned by Iran directly. So Europe is being made to choose. So that is the recap. Now zoom out. Look at the board. Iran is broken. Oil is squeezed. China is paying for it in inflation. India is rationing, and Europe is being sorted into allies and bystanders. And then on Wednesday morning, the President of the United States lands in Beijing carrying his briefcase, and he sits down across from Xi Jinping, and the conversation that everyone thinks is going to happen is the fairy tale that Trump asking Xi for help on Iran. Well, that is not happening. It is the exact reverse of the conversation that is actually going to happen. Xi needs the oil to flow again. Xi needs the inflation to stop. Xi needs his industrial machine to keep running because if China's exports slow down, the Communist Party has a different kind of problem, and Xi knows that. And the only person who can turn the pressure down is the man landing at the Beijing airport on Wednesday. So Trump is not arriving weekend. Trump is arriving with the only key that fits the door. And he brought knights with him. Elon Musk and Tim Cook, and people are asking, why them? Well, Elon Musk has a gigafactory in Shanghai that is one of the largest manufacturing facilities in China. He runs the satellite constellation that controls global connectivity. Tim Cook runs Apple, and Cook spent 20 years building the supply chain that turned China into the workshop of the world. So Cook knows every factory floor in Shenzhen by name. So between Musk and Cook, Trump is bringing the two Americans who know more about Chinese industrial operations than anyone alive. Then look at Meta, and this one is interesting. Meta's products are banned in China. We're talking about Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. None of them work inside the Great Firewall. So why is Mark Zuckerberg's company on the plane? Because Meta's second largest advertising market is Chinese companies. Temu, Shein, ByteDance. The Chinese e-commerce empire that has spent the last 5 years extracting hundreds of billions of dollars out of the American consumer runs its global ads through Meta. Ads of Temu on Facebook, anyone? So Meta is the choke point. Meta is the company that decides whether Temu can keep selling $4 jeans to people in Iowa. So notice that, as far as I know, Trump did not bring AI executives. He did not bring OpenAI. He brought connectivity, supply chain, and the advertising layer that touches every Chinese export business that depends on the American consumer. So these are not negotiators. These are techno-diplomats. Each one of them is a leverage point. So the offer Trump is bringing to Beijing is not the offer the mainstream media is describing. It is not, help me with Iran. The offer is, I will turn the oil back on in exchange for you opening your market to American companies, signing real purchase orders, and stopping the rare earth extortion game. Because you need to remember that China buys a lot from the United States. Soybeans and grains, mineral fuels and oil, aerospace, and that's why the Boeing people are going to. And here's the part that everyone is missing. She cannot refuse this offer. He cannot refuse it because the inflation numbers came out this morning and his own economy is telling him he cannot refuse it. Yeah, you're going to hear some analysts saying that 7 trillion, trillion with a T, of the West's economy depends on things that come from China, like it was some kind of leverage over us. But in the end, that is still a mutual exchange. China cannot afford to not provide and sell those 7 trillion in downstream stuff. That will be the end of China as we know it. So this is how you understand, better than any of your friends, how Trump's trip to China is not a man begging for help. This is a trip of a man arriving with the offer that can't be refused. So here's what is at stake by Friday afternoon. If Trump gets purchase orders out of Beijing, real orders, soybeans, aircraft, energy, the things American workers actually make, then the entire $10 trillion US-China trade relationship gets repriced in the next quarter. American manufacturing gets a tailwind it has not had in 20 years. Inflation in the United States comes down because Chinese demand for global commodities stabilizes, and that way the dollar holds. The bond market calms. The Iranian regime loses its last serious patron, and the war ends not because Iran surrenders, but because nobody is willing to keep funding them. Now, if she refuses, his inflation problem gets worse. His exports keep falling, his industrial machine keeps slowing down, and the next time he picks up the phone to talk to the United States, he will be in a much worse position than he is in today. So this is what people miss about Trump. He is not running a foreign policy. He's running a stack of pressure mechanisms, and he watches the gauges. The gauges this week are telling him that Beijing is ready to move. I have been telling you, all of this cannot be a coincidence. First Venezuela, then Iran, then the leverage over China, and mark my words, Cuba will be next. There's one more thing I want to mention, and it is the part that is going to get the least attention this week, which is that DeepSeek, which is basically the Chinese ChatGPT, what DeepSeek is doing right now in the background. China's state semiconductor fund is leading a $45 billion funding round for DeepSeek. That is not a normal startup race. That is a state move. I have a longer write-up coming on what that actually means and where it fits in the chain, and you can read it on thepowerpundit.com. I can say things there that I'm not allowed to say anywhere else. Link in the description. And share this video with your family and friends so they know what's really going on. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Power Pundit. Much love and bliss.